Trustee Tyler Hayes, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Backus, would you please call the roll?
Chair Connie Newhan,
Present.
Trustee Aisha Kennerly,
Present.
Vice Chair Jamie Merchant,
Present.
Trustee Shirley Tyler Hayes,
Present.
and Sharice Leonard.
Thank you. Have you all had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, could we have a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on March 28th? Could we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. And a second?
I second.
Thank you. Ms. Backus, would you please call for the roll call vote?
Chair Connie Newhan,
I approve.
Trustee Aisha Kennerly,
Approve.
Vice Chair Jamie Merchant,
Approve.
Trustee Shirley Tyler Hayes.
Approve.
Thank you. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous Library Board of Trustee items. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. With the concurrence of the Library Board of Trustees, a trustee or any person in attendance may request that an item be removed for further consideration. Do we have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
I move to accept the consent calendar.
Thank you. And do we have a second?
I second.
And just for the public, the consent calendar consists of board graphs, stats, calendars, and flyers, library business information. So may we have a roll call vote on the consent calendar?
Chair Connie Newhan,
I approve.
Trustee Aisha Kennerly,
Approve.
Vice Chair Jamie Merchant,
Approve.
and Trustee Shirley Tyler Hayes.
Approve.
Thank you. Persons wishing to address the Library Board of Trustees on items listed on the agenda are requested to identify themselves and state the matter on which they wish to comment. No action will be taken on matters not listed on the agenda. The Library Board of Trustees would appreciate your cooperation in keeping your minutes brief, your comments, I'm sorry. Ms. Backus, do we have any speaker cards or written comments from the public?
No speaker cards or written comments from the public.
All right, thank you. Then we can move on to the youth update. Do we have someone here from, great.
Sorry. Hello, my name is Maximus Paul. I'm from the Mayor's Youth Council. The Mayor's Youth Council offers students the opportunity to serve their community, gain a wealth of experience in local government, and add their voice to the discussions that will shape the future of our city. The Mayor's Youth Council met on April 11th for the Utilities Department tour of the water reclamation facilities. We got to learn firsthand what it takes to provide safe, clean, and high-quality drinking water to the community. We also learned about Corona's water reclamation system. The city has a large-scale reclaiming water system. The water reclaims programs allows the city to save drinking water from homes and businesses by using reclaimed water for landscaping. It saves water and helps the environment, all in turn to help the community. On April 18th, we had the police department tour at the police administration building. Public safety and public service are the top priorities of the men and women in the Corona Police Department. The department has over 220 employees, including officers and support staff. Together, they are responsible for protection of the safety of Corona's population of over 160,000 residents. We got a tour of the memorial wall, holding cell area. We also got to look at the police vehicle and discuss the canines that visited the children's rehabilitation room. Sorry, it's been a long day. The Corona Police Department values its community partnership to protect lives, property, and the quality of life within our neighborhoods. Our next Mayor's Youth Council meeting is Wednesday, May 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustees, do you have any comments? Trustee Hayes?
Thank you for coming. It was a very good report. I actually went to the Water Reclamation Center when I did the Citizens Academy, and I learned we have homogenized water.
Thank you. Trustee Merchant?
No, I just appreciate you taking the time to come and give us the report. I'm sure it has been a long day being at school all day, and I'm sure you have homework to do too.
Very much so, especially with AP classes.
Yeah, so, well, thank you for your, already your commitment to the city and volunteerism.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I second that. Trustee Kennerly, any comments?
I second what they just said. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
very much. We appreciate your being here. Administrative items. Ms. Back, oh, I'm sorry. It's time for the director's report.
Thank you so much, Chair Newhan. I have to tell you that this week's director's report, or this meeting's director's report, I've got the slides, but I don't have any notes, so I'm just going to pretend I know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to pretend I know which slides are mine. So Danielle, if I'm taking slides that are yours, you just raise your hand and let me know. So I think we start with you, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, you go, take it away.
Well, Madam Chair, trustees, and Dr. Turner, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to start off with the Parks Kits Backpacks update. Sorry, I feel like I'm yelling. So last meeting, the trustees were really excited about these backpacks, but you guys were also concerned about the checkout period. Just to give you a little bit of history about these backpacks, we were given 7 backpacks by the California State Library, and the number was determined by the set amount of people that we serve in our community. So the library staff also did supplement the backpacks with an additional $1,200. So currently, the items that are in our ILS system that are labeled as kits have an 8-week checkout due to the history of these actual kits. So we have about a little over 70 kits, and even with the 8-week checkout time, they are more than likely returned early. So if we were to change a kit's checkout time, we would need to create an entire new shelving location, and that just it convolutes the process of getting these kits in and out. So at present, none of the backpacks have any holds. We do have holds on some of the parks passes. And so what can we do? How can we help? We are vigilant and watching our emails and communication with the California State Library to see if we can get more backpacks. This also happened when they gave out the parks passes, there were a lot of libraries clamoring for more. So we anticipate that same sort of fervor happening, and the California State Library potentially giving out more backpacks as well as more passes. And if not, then the library leadership will convene together and decide if we need to even out the number of backpacks to an even 10. Gonna go back. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I wanted to take a moment to welcome our new library specialist. Her name is Ariel Castillo, and she is going to be working in our literacy and community engagement team. Her start date was April 10th, and she's been acclimating very well into her new role. She's currently working towards a bachelor's degree in fine arts and is thinking about pursuing a master's degree in library science. And she's worked with libraries all over over San Bernardino and Riverside County, creating various youth programs and special events. So she's going to be working specifically with our Maker Exchange adaptive and special audience programming. And as a fun fact, she paints oil portraits in her spare time. I also did want to introduce Jennifer Bauserman. She is currently our children's librarian, but she has recently accepted the position of library supervisor over our literacy and community engagement team. So here she is right here. She, in addition to the fabulous story times that she has been putting on that has been seeing record numbers of people coming from all over, even the OC. She presents that every single week. She has amazing customer service, and this is probably the biggest feather in her cap, in my opinion. She may have a different one, but she was selected as one of the 6 employees of the year by the city of Corona. So Jennifer, do you have a few words?
Hello. Thank you for having me today. So yes, I'm Jennifer Bauserman. I've worked for the city of Corona for just over 9 years now. I was originally hired as a part-time library assistant, and then had the opportunity to work full-time as a librarian, and now as the library supervisor. My most current role was in collection development, managing our youth services collection, but I kept my foot in the programming side as well. So I've had experience with our 4th of July parade now, our Head Start holiday, story walk, our weekly story times. So a lot of both sides of the library, and so I'm looking forward to this new role and what we can do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or welcome to a new office.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jennifer. On April 11th, the library had about 52 first graders from Clara Barton Elementary School, and they came to do a tour with our library staff. And the tour started a little bit before we opened, and the kids were extremely excited that they got to go into the building before anyone else. And so that was a very cute moment. But during the tour, the first graders learned a brief history of the library. They learned how to use their CNUSD SmartPass accounts, what types of library programs we offer to them, and as well as where to find homework help within our library. Each student checked out one book using their SmartPass account, and they went home with a copy of our National Library Week flyer. We currently have Clara Barton, Rainey Intermediate School, and Park Ridge Elementary slated to tour our facilities in the near future. And all library tours are scheduled and organized by Martin, who is one of our library staff. And if you are interested, you can contact him at 951-736-2389. Corona's Main Street USA Independence Day Parade is a non-competitive parade which provides entertainment, community spirit, and fun for all ages. Drawing over 4,000 family, friends, and neighbors, the parade takes place on Main Street from Ontario to Olive Street. This year's parade starts at 9 a.m. and parade applications are available now until June 12th, and it includes a fee of $25. The parade is to be followed later that day with entertainment, food, and fireworks at Santana Park at 5 p.m. So the questions about the Main Street parade can be relayed to the library, and the questions about the fun at Santana Park can be relayed to Recreation Services. And lastly, in an effort to promote our services and events better, the library is going to be utilizing our social media platforms more to engage with the community. A social media policy is being created to not only give the guidelines of using the library's social media, but also general etiquette, and is also included in your packet. There will be a few select staff designated to use the platform and the additional platforms that we are going to be adding. And the policy goes over guidelines of posting, engaging, commenting, and is currently being reviewed by the city's communications team. And we hope to begin a more robust posting schedule starting in July. And before I hand it over, I just want to express my immense thanks to the Friends of the Library. They offered lunch/dinner to all of the library staff today, and it was really wonderful seeing our break room just engaged with all of our staff on break and talking to the Friends of the Library in addition to eating sandwiches. So that was a very lovely thing, and I just wanted to say thank you. And now I will hand it over to Dr. Turner.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Newhan. Trustees, I just want to share with you some exciting stuff. And I'm not sure what I'm going to share, but we'll go down this journey together. So we'll start with the May calendar. So really excited to share with you the May calendar. As you can see, we've done some revisions to the calendar from last year. We think it makes it a little bit easier to read, a little easier to follow along, but we want to make sure that all of you are aware that we are finishing up our cover to cover. That was last month, and we now are getting ready for our summer at the library, which is going to be beginning on June 5th. And of course, we still are featuring our story walk up at Mountain Gate Park, and it looks like we have a new story up there. Llama Llama, if I could read it, it's so small, something in pajamas. So, red pajamas, Llama Llama red pajamas. Okay, well, I think it should be very exciting. And do remember that we always have our opportunities for kids to do the story walk themselves, to call in and have the story read to them as they do the story walk. And that's both in English and Spanish. As parents, you can read along the story walk. And then we also try to make sure that we have an opportunity for our rangers also to do a story walk. We continue to have the Vets Connect book club and Read to a Dog, which is one of my favorite things. I mean, what is better than sitting with a dog and learning to read and working on your literacy all at the same time? So always very exciting things happening at the library, and we hope you'll come. Check out the calendar. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have on that. And you'll see in the purple, we now have the Vets Connect hours well listed out separate. We have the library hours and then the Vets Connect hours and then the open hours. So it should be easier for folks to move forward. I'm happy to announce to the trustees that we have the library continues to look beautiful out front, but we have also made sure that it's clear that folks can park on Bell in front of the library. And so we've been working with Public Works, and those signs have come down, so you can park on Bell in front of the library. We are also doing other items, as we discussed with Mr. Cortez the last time, to help make sure that we're preserving the library parking lot for actual library patrons. So we're hoping that you'll see an improvement there. So it's always exciting to me when we have a new Corona Connection. This Corona Connection talks about our recreation classes and the offerings from community services. We have lots of information in the Corona Connection. If you haven't got it, please go pick it up. And you'll have really exciting information about the 4th of July inside. So that will tell you how both to get your application for the 4th of July parade online or at the library, and work to have a fantastic day on the 4th of July. If you haven't yet joined us for a parade, we have several booths down the parade route that announce all of the amazing floats and participants in the parade. Then there's a nice break. If you're like me, you need a little siesta in the middle of that day. Just take a little lie down after being out in the sun all morning, and then rest up and get up and head back out for dancing. We've got some fabulous bands this year. And so you can come and dance and hang out, enjoy great food. We had a lot of food trucks last year. We're expecting more than 16 this year. And so the lines should be shorter, and then you can go ahead and grab some food, or you can bring your own food, whatever you enjoy. And as we dance the night away, once it gets nice and dark, we have a beautiful fireworks show. So I hope that you'll join us for the 4th of July. For me, as a newer a newer employee with the city of Corona, that first 4th of July was just magical. I mean, the sheer scale of that event was incredible. There was well over 10,000 people in Santana Park. It was just coming out of COVID. We had just kind of like taken that risk and done it right on the cusp of coming out of COVID. And it was just a magical time to see the whole community in Corona getting together. So talking about that, we are getting ready to have Corona Serves exhibit at the library. And I just first want to really thank our library staff. This has been a long time coming for this exhibition, and it will be documenting all of the conflicts, the modern conflicts. So I believe we'll go all the way from World War I all the way through our modern conflicts. And I do want to share with the trustees that often documenting our more recent conflicts is difficult. Veterans are not yet ready to kind of chat about that or talk about that, and there's not yet necessarily the kinds of books and documentations that there are on the world wars. What was really nice about this is in partnership with Vets Connect, we have some oral histories, people who are ready to talk, particularly about the Vietnam conflict. And so that kind of information will be available. This is a really important exhibition because it is going to not only include a real tribute to all of the Coronians who have served our country, but it also has some very unique pieces from the Heritage Room, and we're really excited about that. What we know now is that the exhibit, we've updated the exhibit dates. It's sort of mid-May to mid-June, and we'll have a hard date for you coming up soon. But what is really exciting is the Women's Victory Flag, which has been the subject of much discussion. We didn't think we were like, we're going to have to do a replica. There's no way the flag's going to be ready on time. And as we're hearing more from the conservator and as we're hearing more about the restrictions, we may actually be able to display that flag. So we're making the stew of this exhibition, but I promise whether that's a replica or the original, this will be a powerful time. I was really touched by this community's reaction to the Wall That Heals. I think that these kinds of tributes to those who have served are incredibly important and really felt by this community. And so I hope that you'll come and see this exhibition. Our staff has worked really hard on creating not only the pieces that are there, but these really thoughtful and well-written prompt cards that tell you exactly what you're looking at, like you'd see in any museum, but also a little bit about how that's very specific to Corona and how powerful that is for us. So I encourage you to come and see that, and we'll keep updating you and let you know exactly when that date is. So the California Parks and Recreation Society Conference, who wants to look at Ann Turner? But no, it was actually a very exciting time. Several of our community services staff went down to San Diego. This is the statewide conference for Parks and Recreation. It's a big deal for us. And the first year that I was here in Corona, we went to the conference and everyone's like, Corona? They didn't really know us. We hadn't participated at that statewide level. And in just 1 year, what was incredible was we were asked to lead 2 sessions. So I was able to lead with our Parks and Recreation Master Planning consultants a session on Parks and Recreation Master Planning and what we're doing here in Corona. And Viola Van, our management analyst too, and Moses Cortez, our manager of facilities, parks and trails, talked about Corona's urban canopy and its impacts on mental health and community building. And I got to tell you, that session was a real winner. They knocked it out of the park. It was the first time for both of them presenting at the state level. It was incredibly well received. And so we're just thrilled. And so we wanted to share that with you. We wanted to just share with you the continued kind of expanded reputation that Corona is getting in the community. And we have always had an incredible reputation with our library throughout the state. And now other components and divisions of community services are starting to catch up. So we're really excited about that. And we were very happy to share that with you. And on all that good news, we will close out the director's report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question, Dr. Turner. Will we be honoring the Coronans who served again at the July 4th evening portion?
Yes, we do. So we read that list. Last year it was, or the last couple years, it's been me and Abby doing it. We haven't quite decided who's all going to be reading what, but we will read the names as we always do. So we'll state the branch, and then alphabetically we'll read every single name. And of course we ask, it's tough because people are getting really excited for the fireworks, but if ever we miss somebody or you expected a name there that you didn't hear, please let us know, because we want to make sure that that really reflects all of those who served.
All right, thank you. And I have one other question on the Vets Connect library hour. I forget what we, oh golly, sorry. The Vets Connect.
On the calendar, their hours?
Yes, how is that? How is the attendance on that?
Every time I walk past there when they are open, there's always somebody in there, and there's usually somebody in there with a buddy. And from 10 to 2, if I'm not mistaken, on Tuesday, Wednesday, there's always somebody in there. So
For the book club?
for the book club?
That's, yes, I don't know what, yes.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I can respond. This is
when
Christina.
did that start?
The book club started last spring, and the attendance is amazing. We hand out the books at the adult information desk, and they have about a half dozen dedicated members, and they're reading really intense, long books. So, but yes, Martin has 6 or 7 books, and they all get taken every month. So the attendance and the interest is huge.
Oh, great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Trustee Merchant?
I have a few questions. I was making notes. For the backpacks, you said that there are currently no holds. What does that mean?
So if we have an item for checkout, you can place a hold on it, so when it returns, you're the first person in line to grab it.
Have any of the original ones have been returned?
Yeah. Yes, there are, I don't know how many, but they are making their way back into the library.
And then when there's school tours, would we be able to get emails just so if we're available, we can pop in and meet the students or the administration?
I mean, I can work with Martin to see if that's a possibility, but the more that they meet about or learn about the entire system of the library, I think that's a great idea.
And my last question, for the maker exchange, for the time that says that it's for ages 10 and up, is that where can students or just be dropped off there, or do their parents need to stay, or how does that work?
Parents need to be in the building.
In the building, yeah, that's,
yes.
but not in the room with them, like helping them, or is there somebody there to?
So we do have people inside the makerspace that will assist them, but they will not complete the project that they want to do. So if you have a child that needs a little bit more assistance, you might want to stay, but if they're independent and on their own and kind of hold their own, I think it would be okay.
That's what I was wondering, if is there like a specific project a week, or it's just like free time for them to just, I'm asking, I guess, for other people that are watching too. So people understand like what it.
So we have
what it
various
is.
things that they can do inside Maker Exchange. It's, we have 3D printing, we have a silhouette and button maker. And so it's kind of a like choose your own adventure. I'm pretty sure that if the people that run the Maker Exchange, they may have like a theme going on, but it does allow for their creativity to take them where they need to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
On the Corona SIRS exhibit, is that up in the Heritage Room? Or,
So it's on, if you've gone upstairs, there's that big space right before the Heritage Room. It's right there.
okay, thank you. I think
Are
that's
there
it.
any other questions? Well, thank you for your reports. And Ms. Backus, do we have any speaker cards or comment cards from the public?
No speaker cards or comment cards from the public.
Thank you. Our next report is literacy and community engagement.
We have the Heritage Room lending policy first, Chair New.
Well, I did skip something, didn't I? Yeah, I'd use your glasses instead. All right, we'll go back. The next report is on the Heritage Room lending policy update. Thank you.
No worries. So it occurred to me later that I should have presented this policy to you as I was going to present it to the Committee of the Whole. And so that's what I'm doing today. So why a lending policy? So currently, we didn't have an existing policy for items to come out of the Heritage Room. The library was asked by Councilman Speak to create a document that stated a course of action on how to lend items from the Heritage Room. And our goal was to not make the document restrictive, but it was also to expand the possibilities of display, also in tandem with protecting them as well. And so the document outlines the borrowing procedures and the necessary steps to display items within city buildings. So the application and loan process. So within the document, there were detailed steps of the process. And first, you needed a formal written request to be submitted to the library manager. And then after that, the library manager would review the request and consult with staff. And if the loan was reasonable and it met general conservational guidelines, borrowers would receive a letter of approval. If there were additional accommodations needed, the library manager would inform the applicant of these conditions, and if they approved of those accommodations, then the applicant would sign the loan agreement. Library staff will then work with the applicant to ensure that the items are displayed appropriately in the location provided in the loan agreement. And library staff would reserve the right to periodically evaluate the item at its location to make sure that it's being protected. And then lastly, the library manager and borrower would coordinate a return time for the item. And then once that item is returned, then the library manager would inform the borrower in writing that the item is now back in the library's possession and the borrower is released from all liability. So some considerations when evaluating a request or making sure that the item or items can make the transportation to and from the Heritage Room throughout the display time. And items that are less than 6 feet long, longer than 1 inch, in good condition, and even better if we have duplicates of those items, make the lending process go much faster. So textiles that don't show signs of wear are also good items to consider. And then the items that are pictured here are some good examples of lending. So these are the ideal environmental conditions. This is just a brief overview, but there's a more detailed chart listed within the document. So while these are ideal, the library staff are more than willing to work with borrowers to help create the perfect environment for the desired items. We even have photometers and hydrometers to make sure the relative humidity and the light in lux is in the right range. These guidelines were researched from the Smithsonian, the Met, the Northeast Document Conservation Center, the National Archives and Records Administration, and the International Council on Archives. Not included here, there are maximum display times for various items. So some that are light sensitive, such as photographs and textiles, may only have a 3-month maximum display time, and then they need to go in dark storage for a period of time. I did want to note that this item did go to the Committee of the Whole, and they only made one suggestion, which was to add Heritage Park to the document. So the document, which is going up to City Council, will also include, will have city buildings and Heritage Park a part of that. Do you have any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Who drafted the copy of the loan agreement? Did the attorneys draft that?
No, that was myself.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And do they have to have insurance? Does it cover, do they need to take out insurance, or is that part covered in the document?
So that's covered in the document. Usually if we have, so there's kind of safeguards put into place. We want to make sure that the, since it is within a city building, it is being protected. Also, if the conditions, the ideal conditions are set, the item that is being loaned should be okay. I don't have, I mean, we highly recommend it, but since it's going to be within a city building and it's going to be in a very short amount of time, I mean, I don't think it's required.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're only allowed to take out the item if they're going to display it in a city building? No, out, the public's not allowed to?
Not yet. No, we don't have that policy yet.
Okay,
So
thank you.
this is just for city buildings, and Heritage Park is also now being included in that. So for the city buildings, insurance-wise, the city's insurance would cover it both at the Heritage Room and anywhere else in the city. So the city's overall blanket policy would cover the item, regardless of which building it is in the city, as long as it meets all of the requirements for proper display. We will have to talk about what kind of insurance we would have to have with Heritage Park, but we have a pretty good reciprocal relationship with them, and I'm sure at that point we would talk about what they wanted to borrow and what that looks like with us. We would want to be as accommodating and make it as easy as possible for them.
Are there any other questions, trustees? Well, thank you very much, Ms. Whittington. And Ms. Backus, do we have any communications from the public?
No communications from the public or speaker cards.
All right, so now the literacy and community engagement report.
Hello, my name is Christina Smith. I'm a library supervisor for the Library Services Unit. But today I'm going to talk about the Literacy and Community Engagement Unit. And the Literacy and Community Engagement Unit has two teams. And the first team is the Literacy team, which has early literacy story times, reading incentive programs, parent caregiver workshops, and the Homework Center. It also has Corona Adult Literacy Services, CNUSD Adult School Partnerships, Basic Computer Skill Classes, and the Career Online High School. The Community Engagement Team has the On the Go program, which are the park visits, library tours, special events. They just did the Day of the Child last Saturday. Vets Connect at the library, community partnerships, the Teen Advisory Council, Maker Exchange, and the Corona Adaptive Recreation Program, which is very popular. All of our summer adaptive programs were booked on the very first day. As soon as the Corona Connection came out, they were all booked. And any city event outreach. Literacy has early literacy story times on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and the Thursdays almost at capacity. So that's more than 100 children and caregivers. A very other popular program is our Play Cafe for caregivers, and they're planning a reading strategies program for this summer. The In and Out Cover to Cover program had, which is a reading incentive program, had 72 registrants, 1,000 books, which is also a new, before kindergarten, is also a reading incentive program, and they just have created new logs. We have new adult literacy tutors trained in updated enrollment and interest cards. And there's and this program is supported by a $32,805 grant from the state library, and we're in the process of completing a grant for the next fiscal year. The community engagement team consists of an On the Go program at Eagle Glen Park for April. In May, they'll be at Lincoln Park, and during the summer, they're at the splash pads. Library tours have just started back up. We had the first grade class from Sarah Barton, which is in the picture, and currently scheduling with Rainey Intermediate, Park Ridge Elementary, and Pivot Charter. But these library tours are for groups of all ages, so it can be any kind of group that wants a library tour. I know I've done tours for people who lived in senior housing complexes and other stuff like that, other age groups. Senior services, we have new standing marketing displays for each of the assisted living facilities that Martin will be going out to, and our special events. And of course, the most special event this week is National Library Week, which is this week, and we had a program and/or take-home activity each day in addition to our regular programs. And we had Spirit Week activities for both staff and patrons. Prizes are available. And then the biggest event for the LCE team of the year is Summer at Your Library, and this year's theme is Find Your Voice. And this event takes at least 3/4 of the year to plan and then to have the event. So in the winter, they determine the themes and pick the program dates. They inventory the materials and prizes from the last year and see what they have available to carry over. They begin ordering prizes and work on configuring the software. We will be probably getting a new software next year because our current software is being discontinued by the company. Then we are in the process of hiring 3 seasonal CS leaders to help us and recruiting volunteers to help us with the programs and the volunteer booth this summer. The staff, we've completed all of that. The staff will begin testing accounts and training sessions for the software. They'll order more prizes and make sure all the rooms are reserved for the summer and finalize the program schedule. That should all be done in the next week or two. And then the summer, the program runs from June 4th through August 5th. This year, we're going back to having a finishers party, and that will be at the CCC on Friday, August 5th. And prize distribution will continue all the way almost till school starts on August 11th. If you have any additional questions, Martin is available for questions, but I can answer some questions, and Jennifer's here too.
Well, thank you, Ms. Smith. Are there any questions, trustees? No, I think the report was very thorough and lots of exciting stuff happening for sure. And again, Ms. Backus, do we have any communications from the public?
No comments from the public or speaker cards.
All right, thank you. It is now time for trustee communications, and I would just like to thank the Islamic Society of Corona Norco for inviting all the trustees to the annual Ramadan interfaith iftar and dinner that was held on April 16. It's always nice to be thought of, and that's a really wonderful event. And if you ever have a chance to attend, I highly recommend it. It's a great evening. Do we have any other trustee communications? Trustee Kennerly?
Well, I am looking forward to going to the library before the week is out. Been kind of busy, but this is National Library Week, so I will make it over there probably tomorrow or Thursday.
They'll be open.
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Merchant? And Trustee Tyler Hayes?
I attended the Friends of the Corona Public Libraries 6th annual authors event, and it was sold out within 30 days. The authors were just fantastic, and the food was great. So that's a great event. If you didn't get the opportunity to attend, make sure you attend one of them.
Thank you. There are no other comments. I will adjourn the meeting.